Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy Darty coming at you with a market replay of October 30th, 2023. Getting a lot of questions about how I play the open with the open and drives, things like that. Just kind of threw together a quick, simple workspace. So this is the 5-minute volume profile right here that I always use. Got your RTH profile with RTH delta on it, as well as the quick high time frame. The 15-minute with your pivots. It has a 5-day rolling profile. Got the pivot balance zones, and then as well as Waterflow Labs auto plot. So the yellow box is its balance zone, so on like that. So I also have this side. This is my jigsaw. Got my DOM right here. Time and sales. This is the auction vista. So here's the flip chart. So this is where I actually look for a lot of my entries on. So the time and sales, and then the flipping, the pulling and stacking of the book. But I pull a lot of structure off of this 5-minute chart. So we're going to run through the 8:30 open and see if we can grab anything. I'll try to flip back and forth from the auction vista and the 5-minute profile. Currently right now we're in a balance area right here off the 15-minute. You got your open, you are pushing higher. So there's the auction vista. Getting a little push down to the 24-hour VWAP. Kind of watching that area. Not really seeing anything interesting just yet. Open and drive is really something I consider within like the first 5 minutes. We're getting a lot of volume right here in this 55 area. Right there. Getting a buy sweep at the 56s. We're not transacting higher than it. Still getting more volume, and they're stacking to the sell side, so it looks like they want to take this down. Coming back to that 55 area. Still pretty aggressive. Stacking on the sell side. I want to get in on it, but still got nothing really to see. Other than that, I mean, you get a lot of aggressive selling on the tape. Wanted to get in that 55 area. Yet to back test it. Still pushing lower. Here's that 55 area that I'm looking for. There's that 55. We are getting the 57 selling, but we're transacting higher now. Now it's looking like this thing wants to run the highs. We've had a pretty good delta flip. Undock that. There we go. There's your buy sweeps coming in at your 74. We didn't transact higher. So kind of this 55 area is really what I like. Also looking at the 5-minute, had a pretty good delta flip from a negative 300. Now we're at a positive 300. We get a pull back to this 60 to 55 area. I will probably attempt for a long just to see, unless we get a just massively strong 5-minute bar closure. And now looking back at the DOM, we're getting a little, did not mean, that was an accidental trigger. Didn't mean to get in that high. Okay, I'm gonna play with it and just let it run. Didn't mean to trigger in on that. I wanted to pull back into this lower area, but we'll see. See how far it can run. It's pushing. We're getting above the overnight highs. About to close this 5-minute bar. It's a lot of volume coming in right here. A lot of stacking on the buy side, continuing to apply that pressure. Let it keep going. So if we look at this chart, I'd be targeting this 475 area is what I'll be looking to target. I got a pretty jacked entry on this. Let's see if I can get anything better. Gonna be watching this. Don't really want it to get below those 78 areas. We get back in on this, I can probably attempt a few more longs. 86 sell sweeps. We're not transacting lower. Really are not getting much of a pullback at all. We're at the overnight high at this 90 area. Two lots now. Grab another one. I'm down to about 85. Sell one at 92. One at about 95. We're going to see if we can play this. Got one off already. Playing pretty aggressively right here. Up those highs, that's what I anticipated. Now I just want to see prior day high at 408. And let's just see if I can just trail this. Continue to buy sweeps, 2s, 3s. We're beyond the 5-minute open and drive. Just gonna see how long I can hold on to this. Now we can start getting into this 450 area. It can probably get a little nasty on it. Put one at 419. Go ahead and move this up to about 447. Just again, looking at this low volume area, I'd like to see it around this 76. But I know that 75 area, I even target these anywhere between 60 to 65. Yeah, let me do 65. Looking at this 15-minute chart coming right here into this pivot. Again, push this up a little bit. Still, we are not able to cross any LVNs. See this thing continue pushing. Again, the auction vista. I'll sweep the 0850. Pretty good ledge. I do not want to see anything really transacting below that 08. I want to see it continuing to push and build as it's doing. I'm just going to sit here and let it ride. 21 sell sweep right there. Isn't really pushing us down. It's not really doing anything. We have high volume coming in right there at that 21.25. But you can look down here. Blue lines, they're stacking the bids. Continuing to push higher. Continuing to apply that pressure to the top side. Right here at this I pretty much got swallowed up. There was a decent bit of liquidity sitting there. Let's see this thing continuing to push. So now, watching these areas, kind of this 08 area, I do not want to see anything below it really. Otherwise, I will flatten the trade. Current stops at about 400. Looking for somewhere between 450 and 475 to see if I can hold out. Building the volume above overnight high, above prior day high. Liking all of this volume build for a sweep down to grab some more liquidity, potentially push higher. Still waiting. Still like the volume build at the top, continuing to apply the pressure on the highs. Sell sweeps getting nowhere. Buying pressure to continue. This is it on the 5-minute chart. Again, still nothing coming in. These LVNs here. Continuing to apply the pressure on the highs. And this is where I'm front running this. I want to control up here at the 78 or high volume node in the 78. Once this 15-minute candle closes, I want to see this continue to push. I see we have this a little bit heavier delta beginning in this 50 area. I will be willing to close it early. We start to get some selling, but ultimately just going to watch it, trail it, let it go. Still continuing to push and build. Awareness of this LVN at 43. Now looking back at the time and sales. DOM. You can see the sweeps coming in, the volume coming in. We had a pretty good bit of volume at 36. Coming back down. Do not want to see much. I want to see it continue to push these highs in 30. 36. Had a good little bit of volume on it. Push the highs. Still no real selling coming into this. Again, it's pretty much going to have to break this 08 for me to get out of there. 400 to 08 area. Buy sweeps continuing to come in. Buyers continuing to apply pressure on the highs. There's your 30s, pressing the 30s. Aggressive buyers coming back in. Let's see that 36 area. That 30 to 36 area. It's got to press and hold above that. Looking at the 5-minute, still pretty good 5-minute bar. Pretty good delta coming into it. Got about 15 seconds. I'd really want to see this thing push above this 35 area and close higher. That's really what I want to see. There you go. That's what I wanted to see on that 5-minute. Push higher. Gonna close it into about 413, 415. Now we're gonna see it continue pushing. I see it really getting into this high volume edge here, but I have this awareness over here. Now, watching back on this side. Again, you see the buyers still being more aggressive. Sellers. $45. That awareness of the psychological number at 50. Continuing to push. $47. Buyers still applying pressure. Okay, there's big psychological 50. See the sellers coming in right there at that 50. Do not want to see really below 38. Fours. There's a sell sweep. It's not really getting lower. There's the 50s. A lot of volume coming in at that 50. You can see the 5-minute, there's a lot of volume. This is getting into that high volume edge right here into this larger delta area on the weekly. So just having that awareness. Now again, I'm trying to trail it. From here, there's that 50. Ooh, there's that squeeze. That's what I wanted. Nice. All right, so 55 and 50. This is kind of getting to be my line in the sand now. I do not want to see much transaction below these two. This was a ledge. This was a ledge. I want to see them continuing to push and build. See, can we get the 65s? We're at 60s. Pushing, keep pushing. Give it to me. Give it to me. 63s, 64s. Right there, pinning at the top. Oh, one tick. I'm just going to close that. I'm going to close that. That's getting pretty extended. Ooh, there's a 67 buy sweep. Now we're transacting right below it. Now we're probably going to roll over a little bit. Maybe back test this 50 to 55 area. Get rid of that stop that I had. This is aggressive right here. There's our open. 365. We're already 100 points higher. This is just an aggressive trend day. I was wanting to buy on this 5-minute closure here. I think I accidentally triggered in at around this 85 to 90 area. It was accidental. My finger was over the buy. I was wanting to get in, wanted more of a pullback. But once we pushed higher from these lows, pushing all the way up here, I was going to be looking into this thin area for a back test. And now, right here, this is right here. That's what I ended up closing out the day with, 1787, 1250 in commissions. That was a really good run. Not going to complain about that. Not going to overstay the welcome. Going to let it be. Definitely have this 50, 55 area here. Definitely lines in the sand. Because if we fall below this, the back test, continue back to this point of control. But as long as we continue above this, definitely look to push the highs. I think I might call it after this. I'll give it another 10 minutes or so. This is if you want to see the DOM and the tape that I watch. See, there's pretty noticeable areas in the 55 right here, as well as the 50 right here. Kind of see this continuing to push higher. We've already extended over 100 points. Definitely starting to see somewhat of a delta flip right here on your 5-minute, where your buying delta is getting, oh, look, buyers, there they go. They're stepping right back in. Look at that, it hit right there to the money on this high volume note right here. Almost lined up with a previous pivot. Again, the stacked 15 minutes, so anywhere between that 53, the high volume edge, that's where I was looking for. Now we're starting to get a delta flip. Ooh, they're like sellers are beginning to get aggressive again. We're going to watch in this 50 to 55 area to see if we get some buyers to come back in right here into this area. Getting a high volume. Selling's continuing to stack. Not be looking for longs currently. Sellers are aggressive. You got a little bit of buy stacking right here. This bottom side, but it didn't really get much higher. So this might be due for a little bit deeper pullback. Now this is where I use the 5 minutes. Once this bar closes, I would be watching. If we close below this area, I'd be watching this 50 to 55 as well as this area right here for potential LV in return if it holds it. Still having that awareness right here in this 50 area. Pretty low volume node. That's why I'd want to see that 5-minute bar close below this. So your sellers are starting to get more aggressive in the 55 area again. Looking at the 5-minute, still we've had a pretty good negative delta, but it's not getting much of a push down. Since the open, we've been pretty directional. So we got 15 seconds left on this 5-minute bar. See what happens. Do we get a close down here into this 45? Or does it close back around this 65 area? Okay, so we got a close just above it in that 57 area. Still no direction. I'd still be sitting on hands. I don't see enough of anything for me to attempt a long right here. Looking at the DOM, you have this low volume area you can lean on. Still, you're not really getting any aggressive buying. We're coming up on period change as well, so have awareness of that. We give away. Ooh, that was an aggressive sell right there. Whipped right through that area. Let's see if those sellers are going to back test that, or that now your buyers are getting aggressive to push it higher. There was the sweep, wanting to snap higher. Want to see this thing attack the highs. I'd want to see this thing hitting 70s, 75s. You want to see continue stacking on the buy side. There's your 70s, 75s where previous selling was, 66s, they're trying to sell it. Still, that's pretty nice if you were to get in on the sweep lower, transact higher. That's a good 15-point run. Still targeting the highs. You anticipate these highs to be broken to continue higher. A nice 5-minute sweep as well. Come right back through, buying, push higher. I would anticipate these highs to be broken. Give it about 2 more minutes. Call it a wrap. I'm done trading. Typically, if I get an opening drive trade like that, I'll pretty much call it. Not really going to overstay my welcome or anything like that. Again, pretty directional. Not really going to mess with anything else. So again, kind of that 50, 55 area. Sellers are coming back in on this recent sweep lower to push higher. We did not break the highs. Now, if this 5-minute bar closes below this, I would be looking for some two-way trade, trading back down toward this 420. You can see some sellers beginning to get aggressive. Still just watching transactions place. We got, there's your 5-minute closure. Still not a real strong selling bar nor a buying bar. Still, that's interesting. Now we are to attack those lows a little bit more. This is definitely a battleground right here. Let's see which way is it going to go. There's a nasty sweep down. Are they going to get it to the 20s? A lot of selling on that sweep down. 6, 5s. Still overall, I'm more bullish till we really get below previous day high, overnight high area at 400, 390 to 400 area. I would still anticipating to play toward these highs, 475 area, but we could literally just bounce around 420s, 75 to fill out this thin print. There's a lot of selling right there. 18, 20s. That right there is at 20 touch. Wanted all this buying coming back in. I'd anticipate this buying, aggressive selling. Back to 50s, 6 A lot of sell sweep right there. Met with a lot of buy sweep. Probably tab long. See if we get that right. This is pretty volatile right now though. Swinging pretty hard. You anticipate them to keep pushing this back up, but if you notice all these rotations up, they're not breaking previous swings. The sellers taking control right now. Now we're starting to approach that prior day high area, 408, overnight high 390 area. See, there's that ledge, that 408 ledge right there we just saw. There's buyers stepping back in, 19. See if they push it back higher to that 35. A lot of that selling coming in. They're starting to press these lows. More aggression. Each rotation higher is not getting much. Sellers, not as many buyers. Three, close to point of control. Right there. There's your 5 minute with 15. 5 minute chart lines up with this. That point of control. Not a bad area for potential long. See if we can push back higher. Maybe these 40, 45 area. Have this awareness right here. All this selling that you had on this candle. And that 31. Definitely a sellers taking control. Once we broke kind of that 35 area. But that's how I trade the NASDAQ, especially at the open. Watching that time and sells. Watching the volume dots on the auction vista. Watching the flip chart, the pulling and stacking. Then your 5 minute volume profiles. So, got any questions? Certainly don't hesitate to reach out. Trade safe, trade smart. Thanks for tuning in.